Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome to the Networking RX podcast. I am your host, Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Today is not a guest day, but today I'm going to talk about a guest that we've had in the past. We're going to talk about something they reference in their interview with us, something that they've just a little tidbit there that kind of almost was lost, but it wasn't. But before we do that, I want to remind people we're looking to add quality people to our stable of franchisees. This is a unique franchise opportunity in that it's geared for aspiring entrepreneurs and professionals to add on to what they're already doing. Again, all of our franchisees do something else for a couple hours in the morning, a few mornings a week. Our franchisees operate the AmSpirit Business Connection franchise system. The rest of their week, they're accountants, they're attorneys, financial advisors, coaches, realtors, consultants of various kinds. If you're interested, contact me. There's an email in the show notes, or you can use the one we provided at the end of the podcast. At any rate, if you were with the program, if you happen to listen to an interview we did back in August, actually we released it in late August. August 28th is when it was released. It was episode 97. We interviewed Matt Ward. Now, if you get a chance, go back and listen to that podcast. He was a fun guest. We had a lot of fun. Right from the get-go, he was a fun guest, and it was a good interview. So if you get a chance, listen to that. But there was a point towards the end where he talked about something that was on his website. It's called the caring assessment. And again, it was just a little passing comment, but there's a link on there that allows you to go through and take an assessment. And in editing his show, not that I wasn't listening to him, I certainly was, but a lot was being said, and I kind of glossed over it when he originally said it. But in editing it, I picked up on it. I said, well, I'm going to go look into it. So I took his caring assessment, and what I want to do is I want to spend some time reviewing that assessment. I will provide a link to the assessment in the show notes. You can certainly go to his website, but I'll make it easy for you. I recommend you take the assessment, and again, we're going to walk through it step by step. But even walking through it, I'm not going to be able to answer questions for you. I'm just going to kind of give you insights as to what's in this assessment. And you take the assessment, and it kicks out a score, and it's emailed to you. Anyhow, who is Matt Ward? Let's start right there. Matt Ward is a speaker. He's an author. He's very passionate about helping employees, managers, and business owners move their business and certainly their personal lives to the next level through word of mouth referrals, helping them to have better relationships. He's a networking guy. He's about building personal and professional relationships. He had a website agency for a number of years and then sold it and then really kind of jumped in both feet into the professional speaking, the business consulting end of things. Why? Because he had built this website business really from the ground up, all through personal relationships, and by the time he sold the business, he actually sold the business to one of his long-standing employees, but by the time he sold the business was growing, it was thriving just on word-of-mouth referrals, just on how he treated people. So very interesting story. Go listen to episode 97, or you can check out his website, Breakthrough Champions. It's breakthrough, one word, and then -champion.com. And I will put that in the show notes as well to the extent I can. Some podcast hosts don't allow you to have as much in the show notes, but I try to put as much as I can in there. The other thing I can tell you about Matt is that he is an author. He has got a book out there. The book is called More, M-O-R-E, but there's a subtitle as well, Word of Mouth Referrals, Lifelong Customers, and Raving Fans. Again, you can find that on Amazon. It's in paperback. You can get a Kindle version as well. At any rate, he's a speaker, he's an author, he's a consultant. But there's this caring assessment that's on his website, and we're going to go through it. Again, you go to his website, and in the upper right-hand corner, there is a link. It's called Take the Caring Assessment, and you simply click on that link. Now, I'm on his website. I've clicked the link, and it takes you to a page that really kind of enters you into the caring assessment. You can do one of two things, and I will provide the link to this first page in the show notes. But once you're on that page, you can either click Start or just simply press Enter, and it takes you into a series of questions. And the first question is, and there's not many questions here. It's a really quick sort of a survey. But the first question is, how often do you attend events that your contacts have? In other words, the people you know, your relations, your business relationships, your vendors, maybe it's your employees, maybe it's your boss. How often are you going to those? And then he's got a spectrum on there, from 1 being never to 5 being always. That's the first question. What Matt's trying to get at is to what extent are you invested in the people that are around you, the people, your contacts, the people in your network. So I'm going to click a number, and then we'll go on to the next question. How often do you refer your contacts to others? We're certainly looking for our contacts to refer us, the people in our networks. And if you're a small business person, you get the notion of referrals. But maybe if you're not a small business person or just somebody who's out there in the working world, how often are you helping other people with finding employees, finding information? So when we talk referrals, it's not just business money type referrals, but to what extent are you singing the praises of your contacts, trying to help them with other people? And again, there's a spectrum there, 1 being never, all the way up to 5, which is weekly. How often are you doing this? And not any one particular contact, but are you in general trying to focus in on your contacts? So again, I'll click here and move on to the third question. How often do you bring contacts coffee just because? Now, when we did the interview, he mentioned this. Just stopping by and bringing your clients, your contacts, could be your vendors, the people who are sending you bills, just kind of a thank you. How often do you just do that just to do it? Don't be there and leave a brochure trying to pitch your wares or get discounts or whatever it is. Just bring them coffee, whatever it is. Maybe it's not coffee. Maybe it's maybe it's their favorite beer. If it's Matt, bring him chocolate. If you look on his website, you'll get a kick out of it. But he likes chocolate. He grew up near Hershey, Pennsylvania, so he's a big advocate of just doing things for your clients, or not just necessarily clients, just people in your network. Maybe it's people who work for you. It doesn't have to be a special day, but just do something just to do it, with no expectation in return. That's what I think so neat about this assessment, is because it's really kind of it got me thinking. And I took the assessment. I didn't think I did very well. He said I did pretty well. I didn't think I did real well. But in taking the assessment, it really doesn't matter where I'm at, but it kind of got me thinking, you know what, I never just stop and bring somebody coffee or just do something for someone. And I need to do a better job of that. So I'll click on here. Fourth question, how often do you share your contacts' news on social media? Your contacts, we all have, if you're on social media, you know other people on social media. To what extent are you doing things for other people? Are you sharing what they have? Are you making comments? Now, there's talk on some social media of doing away with the like button, or at least doing away with people seeing what's happening on your particular like button. What most people I talk to value the most, what someone said to me was, I would prefer to get no likes. I don't care who likes my posts. I would prefer to have quality comments or people sharing my posts. There's much more value in that. So the question is, how often do you share your contacts' news on social media? Are you sharing it out there? Are you commenting on it so other people can see it? Are you helping them by doing this? Again, I'll go ahead and click a button here. Fifth question, how often do you tag contacts on social media for information relative to their personal lives or business? We live in the world of social media. It really makes it a whole lot easier. Back when I worked in public accounting, one of the things that we tried to do from time to time is that if we found articles in publications, and this is all pre-internet, found articles in publications we would pull those articles and we would send them to our clients. Or certainly if our clients were mentioned, we would send those. But a lot of times we would just look for articles that might be of interest and forward those on. You may not have seen this. Now in the internet age, we have the ability that we can just simply tag somebody, comment on something and tag somebody, and then they'll see that article. It saves you a stamp. It saves you that effort. But how often are we doing that when we see things? Are we thinking of other people as we're online reading about this and that? Sixth question, how often do you send business contacts Facebook friend requests? To what extent are you making your clients and customers friends on Facebook? Now, this is certainly very interesting. I know that people out there like to keep their lives separate. For me, to be perfectly honest, I can't see where my business life ends and my personal life begins, or vice versa. It's all kind of merged together, and what Matt's getting at here is that, and again, this is a caring assessment, is we got to care about people. Now, I get it. Some people like to have Facebook and they like to do wild things on there, and they don't want their clients to see it, or they want a separation there. And you know what? I can't argue with that if that's where you're at, but I can certainly see the value in letting people into your personal lives and to seeing what you're about. Yes, there are certain things I'm certainly not going to be posting on social media, and probably shouldn't be anyways. But this is going into his assessment. So you click from never to always. How often do you invite your contacts to attend other contacts' business events? To what extent are you connecting the people you know with other people you know? Connecting your contacts with other contacts? And that's certainly an important question. I mean, you're helping. We need to be helping. We need to be caring. We need to be connecting people. And so if you know person A is having something, trying to get person B, who you know those two people, put together. We call it creating triads. I did an episode on it several months ago. Eighth question, how often do you share your contacts' videos on social media? Again, it sort of harkens back to the fourth one, which how often do you share news? Similar, a little different, but again, kind of goes into the assessment of to what extent are we invested in the people in our lives. How often do you mail your contacts handwritten birthday cards? This is something I fall down on. I know a few of my contacts' birthdays. I know some of my franchisees' birthdays. I might make a post on social media. I don't really do a whole lot with that. And that's an area where I probably could do a much better job. One of my franchisees, Dean Curry, he's always sending me birthday cards. I feel bad. He's just really good about it. He's got some sort of reminder system, and I have no doubt that he's doing that in his own business. And it's probably a very powerful thing. 10, how often do you send handwritten cards or notes to contacts? This is something that I would probably give myself high marks on. I invested in cards years ago, little personalized AmSpirit Business Connections cards, and I tend to send those things out quite frequently. Certainly when I'm meeting new people, I'll send that out. Depending upon the contact, I'll send a copy of one of my books. And there's not a ton to the note. Glad to meet you. I might reference something from the conversation. Look forward to seeing you again. Nothing more than that. Or thanks for the introductions. It doesn't have to be anything really involved, but I do a good deal of that. So again, that's his 10th question. 11th question, how often do you remember your contacts' kids' names and ask how they are? Now, this depends on my contacts. Some of my contacts don't have kids. Some of my contacts I don't even know, and that's probably a shortcoming of mine as well. I have a couple people that I know relatively well, and we talk about it. We talk about their spouses and their kids, and we just have that kind of relationship. For me, that was a big sometimes, something I could be better at. Some contacts I know about their parents. Again, this is an area of improvement for me. 12, how often do you give gifts to contacts, but not as a thank you, more as just because? Again, that's a big sometimes for me, probably an area that I could do better at. Like I said, I do send my book out from time to time when I'm meeting new contacts. On occasion, if I find a book that I really like and I really think is beneficial, I might buy a second copy and pass that on to someone else. So I do it, but maybe not as often as I should. 13, when your contact has a win, how often do you find ways to celebrate with them? And again, that's something that I need to probably do a better job of. one, finding out when they have wins, and then two, making a big deal out of it, being happy for them. And it's not, we're all kind of in our own worlds, and it's easy to kind of get caught up in our own wins and losses, and trying to get wins and losses, or trying to get wins and avoid losses, I should say. And I need to do a better job of it. If your contact's only available after business hours, this is question 14. If your contact is only available after business hours, do you make time for them? For me, that's a yes. Again, I don't know when my personal day ends and my business day starts. There's just this big melding. It's a day. They start early, they end late, and throughout the day there's a mix of all sorts of things. And I might be doing something business early in the morning. I might be doing something personal in the middle of the day, and it just kind of blends. So I always make time for people. I know people have different schedules. How often do you take contacts to sporting events? I think for me that was a big never. Not that I'm opposed to it. Well, partially because a lot of the sporting events I go to are my kids' soccer games, and most people really don't care about my kids other than myself and my wife. Maybe family does. So I don't, but I do know people who do. Again, Dean Curry is somebody that I think of. Dean Curry is a big Columbus Blue Jackets fan. And he has taken me to games. I know he's taken lots of people to games. He's got season tickets. His wife makes an obligatory one or two game appearance every year, and so he always has a ticket, and he makes good use of it in trying to bring people there, bring his contacts there, and just kind of sharing his love of the Blue Jackets. And that's it. 15 questions. It's pretty simple, and from there you put in your name, your email address, how you were led to the caring assessment. If you take the caring assessment, if you would type in Networking RX podcast, that would be awesome. And then you submit it. And what happens once you submit it is simply this, is you'll get a score back. You'll get emailed a score. What Matt has done with me, and I'm assuming he does this with a lot of people, he sent me a short video. It was 37 seconds long. It was a video of him thanking me, kind of talking about, hey, you scored this. I think it's really good. What this says about you. Kind of gave me some feedback. Rather than typing up a whole email, he just sent a video. I thought it was kind of a nice touch. Again, this guy, Matt Ward, walks the talk, I should say. He walks the talk. But I encourage you to take the assessment, get online and take it. Certainly, I've gone through the questions, but you have to make your own selections and get your own score, and just kind of think about it as you kind of go through it. You can go and you can look at it and think in your own mind, hey, what are my answers to this? And be honest. I mean, there's nothing, this is not a test that, you're going to determines where you go to college or anything like that. It's an assessment, and for me, it was a starting point. There are certainly things that I can do a better job of. So I will put that link in the show notes. Take the time to get out there and take the assessment. Let them know where you heard about it.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today, and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.